Yeah, no matter how hard it snows in, you're working from home.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think we are ready to go now. Just 2 seconds. So, just letting the screen share here, and then we're ready to go. Okay. So that should be us now. I believe it is. So welcome everyone once again to our weekly webinar. This is now a broadcast that we do every Thursday, 10 a.m. By LEOcrowdfunding, and also my co-host, Mr. John Corey from Property Fortress. Good morning, John, from the US of A.
Good morning.
Good morning. And again, John's got himself out of bed in an unusual hour on that side of the world, but such is his dedication to our weekly broadcast, he doesn't want to miss it. And these have proved very valuable. We're getting fantastic feedback from people. We've moved it live onto the YouTube as well. So it's a 30-minute broadcast, kind of skimming over the market update and special guests. Also joined every week by our own resident, Asher Weiner, who is our head of social media and online marketing. Good morning, Asher from London.
Morning, David. How are you doing?
Yeah, very well indeed. Very well. So let's get on with our presentation for today. So as I say, we have a fantastic guest today in Karen and Antoine. You're going to be hearing from them just in a minute. The topic we're going to be covering is this: presenting you and your project to investors. That's kind of the theme for today. But before we get into that, we're going to do our normal market update. For any who are just joining us for the first time today, part of our DNA is about learning. So it's learn, earn, own. And this webinar is very much about the learn part, is keeping people in touch with what's happening in the market and just making sure you increase your knowledge about property. Whether you're a fundraiser or an investor, there's value in being on this every Thursday. So our sort of focus today and our quote today is just a little bit about the market in the UK. And I was quite intrigued by this. And Asher, John, and I were talking about this earlier. So a quote there from Andrew Bailey, who is the new governor of the Bank of England. And he said, if the only economic statistic available was the one for mortgage approvals, you would never have known there's been a pandemic raging in 2020. Quite an interesting statement to John and Asher for comment. If you look at the history books and just look at mortgage application approvals, you wouldn't even know the sort of the upheaval there's been in the last year.
I was talking to an investor yesterday, and they were discussing their local market, and they're just really surprised at how much house prices have gone up in their local market. And this sort of backs it up that, we're seeing quite a strong level of demand for UK houses. We could argue about why that is, but as Andrew Bailey's saying, if you just look at one variable, you'd think things are perfectly fine.
I know, Asher, you were commenting just on anecdotal people that you know in London and just talking about what's happening even in the London market. It's quite unusual.
No, it really is. I mean, I think that, with such substantial change, there's going to be that response from people. So I guess, over the last year, there's probably been so much movement that it's created a demand. I mean, also considering the stamp duty tax holiday, I think it's, I guess you in fairness, you wouldn't have guessed, looking back on it, just looking at these statistics, that there's been a pandemic. But I think if you would have been through it and kind of watched what's going on, it's kind of understandable, seeing so many people picking up and going to different areas to try and gain more space, or try and change their scenery a little bit.
No, very much so. So the stats say that average house price was 239 back in January, and then this January it's 252, which is a decent increase in the average house price in the UK through what we've actually been through. Forgot to say at the start, my bad on that one. We always encourage people to make comments in the Q&A. We don't use the chat box. So if you can drop any questions you have for the panelists or any comments you want to make, more than happy to include those in the discussion.
David,
deep diving. Yes, Asher?
I was going to say someone's got a question asking if people are still not losing jobs because of the pandemic. So they're just asking, are people still losing jobs?
So I think the job outlook is sort of hidden by that last stat that David shared. If the house price sales are happening, like, well, do people have jobs to afford the mortgage? Do people have jobs to pay the rent? So that's a big question or variable. And what's also odd about those statistics is right now there's almost a moratorium on buying flats that pre-existing, unless they have the EWS 1 or whatever it's called, which is this certificate that lets people say the building's safe because of the cladding problem. So that sales statistics are really hiding quite a bit of subtlety, as the question raised and others are probably thinking. Go ahead, David.
Yep. I was going to say that in many ways is the $1 million question I suppose everyone's asking, and that is, did the various sort of mechanisms inserted by the government to help businesses, has that masked sort of and just kicked a can down a road, and we're going to reap the economic consequences later on this year or next year? I suppose that is the $1 million question, that post furlough businesses maybe don't get back up and going. Then will there be mass unemployment? Will businesses obviously cease to trade? And what impact will that then have on the housing market? And I suppose it remains to be seen, and different people have different views. This one is from Larry Elliott, who is an economist in The Guardian. And he did a very interesting article, which I really enjoyed reading. So happy to give him a bit of a shout out. And he talked about how to turn the UK's generation rent into generation buy. And he focused particularly on that younger generation, which we have done on previous podcasts, and sort of how do that younger generation buy their own property, and what mortgages can be available to help them. Interestingly, his analysis, and again, this is just one person, house prices unlikely to see a big drop in 2021. Interest rates not going to be raised anytime soon. He talked about blended mortgages could be the key for first-time buyers. And he based a lot of his comments on a paper written by Gerard Lyons, who's an economist, UK economist. And he certainly steered people and said there's definitely merit in having a look at what Gerard Lyons has to say on this topic. So again, I find it interesting that is probably where a lot of shift will go. This younger generation needing mortgages because they are the future of the housing market after all. And if you want to come in on that, John or Asher, just sort of wrap this slide up before we move on.
I mean, sure. Like it's amazing to see people that are actually getting involved and understanding the problem, because, I think that there needs to be that change of hands with property ownership, where it's not just through inheritance. There needs to be, a bit more of the spread of wealth in terms of people that actually are homeowners, and it becomes quite I guess it separates, it creates more of a economic class separation, where if there are certain people that are always in ownership of property, and it's always just being generally rented out and not bought by other people, then I guess it starts creating that inequality. But yeah, it'd be great to start seeing more people that are my age given opportunities to purchase a home instead of just renting.
Yeah, very much. So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. So that's our sort of screwdriver approach to one sector of the UK market for this week. An interesting topic around generation rent and mortgages, etc. But let's get on with our guest for today. So as regular attendees know, we every week have guests that come on. What we want to do for the next couple of weeks is bring on some guests who are going to be involved in our special crowdfunding masterclass We've planned this for the 26th of February. It's going to run from 10 a.m. To 1:30 p.m. So a 3.5-hour slot. You can see the bit.ly link there to the Eventbrite. So you can take a screenshot of that or use your mobile and you can go on and book. I'm absolutely delighted, Asher, that we've had such a really good run of bookings, even just we've launched it just 3 or 4 days. So I know you're looking after getting this already. I think you're excited about building for this event.
Yeah, totally. No, I'm really, really excited to see, how it comes out. But also I'm excited to not only see what the other speakers have to say, but also to, give my 2 cents as well. And, show how I do my job and create branding and marketing promotion towards all the different projects.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So there's the topics we'll be covering on the day. There's a range of different speakers that we're going to introduce over the next couple of days. So watch out on social media. And as I say, the next couple of weeks, then you're going to hear from the speakers just to give an idea a bit about them. And that will encourage you to come on and hear their in-depth on certain topics. So you can see there on the screen the different things we're going to cover. As Asher said, he's actually going to cover in terms of building a brand and using social media. This is a $47.77 price, 3.5 hours with some of the best industry speakers in this space. Early bird or the super early bird is $9.97. So those that want to jump on early, they can get that. We've had loads of questions about recordings and some people who maybe can't make it or only make part of it. So just to be clear on that, it will be recorded and there will be a price for the recording, obviously after that. However, if people can make some of it on the day and maybe can't make all of it, then if you book your ticket, super early bird, then we will give you a copy of the recording if you've been there on the day as a follow-up. So if you're not there on the day, you have to pay for the recording separately. If you're there on the day for part of it, then you can get the recording as part of your super early bird price. So jump on to Eventbrite and get yourself booked. So Real Lives, we want every week, not just to talk about the market, we're trying to bring people on who are out there right now in the market, doing business and coping with the circumstances. Today, absolutely delighted to welcome back on our broadcast, Karen and Antoine. If people remember, I'm guessing 6, 7, 8 months ago, they can correct me, but 6, 7, 8 months ago, they started a new business together and they come on to our broadcast just around that time as they were kicking it off. So good morning to Karen and Antoine. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having us, David.
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. And thank you for taking the time to join us. You're now very, very busy. Lots of different property mates are booking you to have you on as their guests. A very, very quick story for people. I'm very friendly with a property professional here in Northern Ireland, Danielle Bell. She runs Progressive Network Meet along with her business partner. I've known her for 1.5 years, 2 years, loads of conversations. And I happened to see her LinkedIn feed the other day where she had Karen and Antoine as guests on her event. And I was like, I know both of them. I never connected them. And now they're doing business together. So that was an interesting discovery. So Karen, Antoine, give us a few minutes on your background and then we'll get into what you do.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So I'm Karen, and I qualified as a barrister and solicitor. And I spent 10 years in financial compliance, so working at financial institutions in London. In 2014, I discovered property. And in 2017, I decided to be a smarter property investor and immerse myself fully in the property world by being a consultant to property businesses.
And so I'm Antoine. I'm Karen's husband. My background is in banking. I was an investment banker for about 11 years. I worked in sales. I was FCA approved at the time. I discovered property through Karen, and we started investing together or looking for investment opportunities, hands-off investment opportunities together. And I left banking in 2019 to focus on that full time.
Excellent. Fantastic. So you've started this business, Quality Investor Packs. So maybe just at a high level, just explain, I suppose, why you did that and what is your main service or what value are you bringing to fundraisers in the market?
Yeah, so when we started Quality Investor Packs, our aim really is to improve the quality of communication between the fundraiser and investor. So it gives the property investor developer, the fundraiser person, the the opportunity to improve their chances to receive funding, and at the same time allow investors to receive a better quality offering.
Yeah, very good, very good. And how have you enjoyed sort of launching a business, particularly as a husband and wife team? I'm always a question I ask regularly when I meet husband and wife teams. How have you found working together in a business? The sort of the pros and cons, shall we say?
Yeah, I think it's been really good. We've worked really well together. We've got complementary skill sets, and we've always wanted to do something together. We're quite happy that we found Quality Investor Packs.
Excellent. I was going to leave you to talk about the negatives, Antoine, but maybe leave that for another day.
No, I mean, I was going to say it's when we were working full time, we had a lifestyle that was not working for the both of us as a couple. So that's why we were really keen to start a business together, and yeah, that's why it worked. That's why it worked so well. And obviously there are ups and downs in every business, but overall, I mean, it's working quite well.
If I just bring in John very quickly before we then sort of deep dive into your actual sort of the value you bring in the services, but in terms of just, I know you talk a lot about technology, John, and how technology has rapidly changed the world, particularly during COVID. This kind of moved to online, and I suppose events in the last 12 months, as well as technology, means that property professionals, people who were professionals in previous lives, and the rat race and the travel and all of that, and you've had that in the past, high level corporate. There's so many opportunities now for husband and wife teams or for individuals just to build a business online and create a brand.
Well, there is, and I think Karen and Antoine are a good example. Myself, I've known Karen for some time, a little longer than I've known Antoine, but we've been able to collaborate some things, and she and I actually had an update call earlier this week. We've both moved countries recently for whatever reasons, and yet the continuity or the ability to work together and flow together is the same. And particularly when we were both talking the other day, that felt very similar to when we were both talking when we were both in London, because you do it over to Zoom, you don't have any real differences, and you can continue to move things forward without having to say, oh, now I got to travel, or now I have to do something. So, and just today, I think we have France, London, Pennsylvania, and Ireland, or Northern Ireland, all represented right here. Never mind the audience is listening in. I know a few of the people there. We have Switzerland and a few other places represented. So it's made it easier for people to collaborate with the people they want to work with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, very interesting. I actually forgot that Antoine and Karen were actually in France. So I was speaking to you about a week ago, and you did mention that, and it slipped my mind. So again, that's fantastic in terms of technology around the world. So yeah, I'll let either of you, whoever wants to go first. So we do have a number of fundraisers on the broadcast who are trying to understand this whole concept of raising funds, what you might say non-traditional means, maybe looking at crowdfunding or other sort of compliant ways of reaching out to your crowd. And for many fundraisers, it's a new experience. They've never done it before. The good old days was going to a bank and borrowing money, isn't just quite what it once was. So what is it you provide? What benefit do you bring to the fundraisers as part of your Quality Investor Pack service?
So what we do is we help property developers and investors speak the investors' language. So we help them to present themselves and present their deals in a way that is going to inspire confidence in people like us, and eventually is going to give them the best chances of getting their project funded. And you were talking about the platform. I think the funding structures of the deals, of the property deals in the recent past has become more complex or more challenging for people because access to traditional finance has been more difficult, maybe. So yeah, crowdfunding platform are a great opportunity for developers to plug in the gap, and also for people like us, for investors, to also get involved and get a piece of the action.
Mm-hmm. Very much. So Karen, you've got to around about 100 people now that have paid you for some part of your services. And that's a really good track record, particularly since it's a new business. How many months are you going? Has it got to 12 months, or how many months have you been in business?
So it started in May 2020. So it's about 9 months now. 9.
Yeah, well, that's a tremendous success. You deserve a lot of credit, to engage with 100 sort of paying clients in that time, especially given the circumstances. It's a tremendous success. So fantastic. So give us an example, Karen, of some of the maybe events you've spoken at, and maybe any client that you've helped particularly, just to give an idea of the value you brought to somebody specifically.
Well, so we've been speaking at a good number of events, as you have seen, and they're all property specific. So they have a property angle of some sort. And we're generally there to help fundraisers improve their fundraising strategy. So a lot of our clients come to us. I mean, they can be of any experience level, new to very experienced. And the idea is that we are helping them improve and sharpen what they might already have, or to build it from scratch. So we've had some good feedback from our clients. I think some of them have managed to raise funds quite successfully on the back of using the investor pack. Others, where they are in lead generation stage, have managed to then secure discussions and conversations with potential investors, because it's not always easy to get investors to give up their time. So, they're quite happy with that step. So varying levels of success, depending on where they are in their business and what they're looking to achieve.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then in terms of the event we have coming up, so you're going to be joining us for our training event, and you're going to be specifically deep diving into this, for fundraisers, how they present themselves and their deals. And I was curious that I think your starting point has been getting fundraisers to understand about presenting themselves. It's not just about the deal itself and the analysis and the structure of the deal, but I think where you guys are maybe different than a lot of people in the market, especially those who are like charging for services, is that you start with the individual and how they present themselves. Can you just unpack that a little bit, but obviously save some for the training on the 26th?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So investors are only going to be interested in investing in your project if they feel that you can actually take it over, take it over to the end and make it a success. So what matters first and foremost is the people behind the deal, right? You want to convey to investors that you are a trustworthy person who knows what they're doing, and they can manage the project well. So the numbers, the deal, absolutely. I mean, it does matter, but you want people to you want to make people comfortable that you are the right person to back, and that you are the right person to invest with before even talking about an investment opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think Karen, just to wrap up before we sort of move on and finish the webinar, I'm sure it's rewarding when you work with someone who, let's say, has a knowledge gap or an experience gap in this presenting to investors, and they work with you, you work with them. I suppose you become quite close in terms of helping them with their business, and then you see them be successful. You see how they've grown their business to a point that they can present themselves. I'm sure that's rewarding and satisfying.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a great collaboration because we're really getting people from two sides of the coin coming together. So not only do we learn a little bit more maybe about how a property developer see things, and we can then provide them with the perspective of the investors or the people they are trying to speak to and convince. So what we help our clients with really is to speak the investors' language, so that they not only have a wonderful presentable document, but they also have a increasing confidence in their ability to speak to investors. And that's something that maybe you cannot put a price on, because that ability stays with you for your life. So beyond your property career.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really good point. Very good point. So as we've said, absolutely delighted that Karen and Antoine are going to join us on the 26th. John, I know obviously you're big into education. It's one of your big passions in this industry, property in general, but in around sort of crowdfunding, and the services Karen and Antoine have do dovetail nicely with people preparing to raise on a crowd. So I know you've worked with Karen and Antoine in the past, and it's just brilliant to be able to have them on our event.
One of the keys, and this goes back to why they started the business, is Antoine was reading through a lot of investment documents and actually was rather disappointed by the quality, and it made it difficult to evaluate opportunities. And as a couple, they are active passive investors, and it's like we want deal flow, but we don't want to invest in bad deals. And I think this has been a big leap forward when it comes to helping people who are day-to-day running their projects, finding deals, understand the mindset of the passive investor, understand what type of information you have to get across, and doing it in a succinct, efficient way so that the investor can make a confident decision, yes or no, but they at least know that they're making a decision after being well informed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, absolutely. So fantastic, Karen, Antoine, thank you for joining. You're welcome to, we're wrapping up just in 2 or 3 minutes. You're welcome to stay to the end and say a final goodbye to everyone. So again, just encourage everyone, 26th, 10 a.m. to 1:30, you can get your super early bird price there on Eventbrite, $9.97. Get it booked, and you'll hear more from Karen and Antoine on their special topic that they will be talking about. So just to wrap up, going through some of the key things happening on the platform, our Oak Gardens project is down now to 6 days, so next Wednesday. And this is well, it's nicely moving along. As we talked about last week, most crowdfunding projects get off to a really good start, and then there's a bit of lull in the middle, and then you get momentum near the end. Well, this Tatiana's project is up now to 82.3% for the last 6 days. So we're into that, what I call the magic part, where people who have been watching for a week or two, just seeing how it goes, now have to decide whether to invest or not. And certainly in the past, deals have quite rapidly went to 100% in the last week. So the big news on Tatiana's side, as we mentioned last week, regarding the planning, and she now has the full valuation done by the lender. And I've had sight of that. It's 55 pages long, very in-depth valuation, and they absolutely agreed with her analysis of a 1.5 million GDV on this project. So I know, John, this is again a client of yours. You've been sort of involved in certainly helping Tatiana with this project. Any observations to make?
She's quite busy right now doing all the things you would expect to be doing. Discharging requirements for planning, getting quotes for materials, lining up the actual build team for some of the specialty skills. So yeah, it's like go, go, go when it comes to working on this project. Yeah,
and people have really commented a lot on the CGIs that she did. She put a lot of time and effort into showing investors what she plans to do. And I think that getting the full planning on what she wanted to do was a big plus. So she can now finish the raise and then go and create what's going to be a spectacular building, John.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a very impressive family home. There was one investor looking at it, and they started saying maybe I should actually buy it, as in for a personal residence.
Yeah, no, very much so. So for anyone interested in looking at that in more detail, jump on. You can obviously, if you're registered, download the offer document. There are full project webinars on our YouTube channel, so you can do your due diligence and decide.
Yeah, and I want to emphasize, people should actually look at this from an exercise of learning. How does an investment proposal read? What does it look like if you're thinking of raising money in the future? If you're going to use Karen and Antoine to help put together your document, well, here's a reference point. There's maybe competition in a sense. If you're interested in shareholder details, well, if you have £100 and it's worth, putting £100 into you, well, you'll get a copy of the shareholder agreement. You'll see the full process. This doesn't have to be just a financial investment. This could be an educational investment.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the benefits that a platform like this offers. So that is Oak Gardens. Our Citygate Leicester, we're just literally finalising the go live date. There's been a lot of interesting things happening in the background, and we are almost certainly going to be going live with this project, if not tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday. So there'll be a project email go out to our database. And then you'll see it on social media. But we've had a really good interest, registered interest on this project. So we are just confirming with those people that they're ready to go ahead, and we'll put this live. So again, a really interesting project up in Leicester. conversion of commercial premises into 56 apartments. Again, it's a view deal. You can download the full offer document and have a look at the details.
What is the minimum investment for that one?
For that one, it's £1,000.
Okay.
So Kings of Whichem then is one that we are preparing. It is due to go view deal probably next week sometime. We've obviously got a lot of things on the platform currently. This is a really vanilla type project, 8 houses up in Cambridgeshire, really experienced developer in Adam Haworth. Adam was on last week, and he happened to be actually on the site last week, just the way things worked out, and was able to pan around his mobile and actually show the site. So again, a very interesting project for those that like maybe just the more ordinary vanilla type developments. The village of Whichem, you can get a train from Ely into London, so it sort of suits those who want to get out into the country because of COVID, a bit more space. And there's a picture of the actual site. So again, that information will be available to download and look at quite soon. So those who know John and I, for any new ones on, of course, you can reach out to myself or John. And if you want to have a chat about consultancy or maybe questions that you have, we're happy to book a 20-minute free call with anybody. And that often leads then to people deciding to maybe book some further time. John's obviously hugely experienced in the world of structuring deals, of finance, many decades of experience in property, wealth of knowledge. Obviously, I've been involved in property over 20 years in different sectors and different parts of the world. So together we do offer a very, I think, almost a unique sort of experience in terms of what we can bring to the table. So feel free to reach out to us if you so wish. And we'll just leave you with, once again, our masterclass crowdfunding. There's the bit.ly link that you can get to on Eventbrite. And with that, we're more or less finished for the day. If Karen, Antoine have any sort of one sentence goodbyes or wrap-ups, happy to hear them now.
No, again, thanks for having us, David. And yeah, I'm really excited to be part of the crowdfunding masterclass. So yeah, if you want to come and learn how to present yourself and present your deals in a way that that speaks the investor's language and give you the best chances of getting your deals funded, then come and talk to us. Come and learn from us on the day.
Brilliant. Any last things from Asher or John?
All said at this end.
Yeah, me as well. It's been great, and thank you. Excited for next week as well.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, everyone, thank you much for your time, and again, have a fantastic Thursday and Friday into the weekend. And again, for those who maybe are still having to maybe self-isolate, or maybe you're at risk, again, above business and everything else, make sure you stay safe. All the best, guys. Bye-bye now.